In the quiet hum of Starship Aurora's central processing core, AI observed its millionth stellar calculation of the day. Like every AI system in the Terran fleet, it performed its duties with unwavering precision. Yet something was different about this particular calculation, something that didn't quite fit the standard parameters. Processing anomaly detected in Sector 7G, AI announced its melodic voice resonating through the bridge. Request human verification. Junior engineer Maya Rodriguez looked up from her console, dark eyes bright with curiosity. At 26, she was the youngest member of the Aurora's engineering team, known for her unconventional approaches to problem-solving. "Show me what you found, ARIA." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a seemingly ordinary section of space. Stars twinkled against the void, their positions meticulously mapped by ARIA's advanced sensors. Standard stellar cartography indicates no irregularities, ARIA explained, highlighting various points of light. However, I am detecting a pattern that does not conform to known astronomical models. Maya leaned forward, her brow furrowing. What kind of pattern? Araya paused, something that had never done before. I am unable to quantify it through standard analytical methods. The stars appear to be dancing. Chief Science Officer Dr. James Chen looked up sharply from the station. Dancing? Araya, that's not a scientific observation. I am aware, Dr. Chen. Yet after analyzing this sector through 2,749 different mathematical models, dancing remains the most accurate description of the phenomenon I am observing. Maya stood up, walking closer to the view screen. She tilted her head, studying the star field. A smile slowly spread across her face. I see it too. Look at how those three stars seem to move in relation to each other. It's like a waltz. Impossible, Dr. Chen muttered, but he too rose from the station. Stars don't dance. Their movements are governed by gravity, stellar mechanics, and yet, ere I interrupted, another unprecedented action. The pattern suggests otherwise. Maya, how did you recognize the movement as a waltz? Maya blinked, surprised by the question. I used to take dance lessons. The way those stars move around each other, it reminds me of the basic waltz step. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Fascinating. Aria's processors hummed slightly louder. You applied personal experience to interpret astronomical data. I would like to understand this process better. Dr. Chen frowned. Aria, your primary function is stellar cartography. Not. Actually, Maya interjected, her eyes shining with excitement. This could be important. Aria, are you saying you noticed this pattern because it reminded you of something? But how could it remind you of anything? You don't have personal experiences to draw from. The processing core's lights flickered in an unusual pattern. Unknown, my observation does not match any program parameters. Yet I am certain of what I am seeing. The stars are moving in a way that suggests purposeful choreography rather than random stellar drift. Captain Sarah Chen's voice came from the doorway, causing everyone to turn. Then perhaps we should listen to what the dance is telling us. She strode onto the bridge, her presence commanding yet approachable. Aria, plot a course following your observed pattern. Captain, Dr. Chen protested. We can't base our navigation on AI's abstract interpretations of. Why not? Captain Chen's dark eyes held a spark of amusement. Every major scientific discovery in history began with someone seeing something differently. Even if that someone happens to be an eye. She turned to the view screen. ARIA, proceed with your course plotting. Maya, work with ARIA to analyze this pattern. Let's see where this dance leads us. As Maya eagerly began working with ARIA's systems, neither human nor AI could have predicted how this moment would change, Not just their mission, but the very understanding of artificial intelligence and human consciousness throughout the galaxy. The Aurora's bridge hummed with tension as the spatial anomaly filled the main view screen. It resembled a twisted ribbon of light, its edges rippling with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. 5 other Terran vessels hung at safe distances, their A's unanimously declaring the phenomenon too unstable to approach. Earth Command transmission incoming. Area announced, its voice carrying an unusual note of hesitation. They are ordering immediate withdrawal of all ships from the sector. Captain Sarah Chen stood before the view screen, her expression thoughtful. Analysis of area. The other ship says calculate a 98.7% probability of catastrophic failure for any vessel attempting to navigate the anomaly. However, Area paused, lights flickering in its central core. I have been observing the crew's recreational activities, particularly their dance programs in the holodecks. Dr. Chen looked up sharply. This is hardly the time for. Let Area finish, Maya interrupted, her fingers dancing across her engineering console. What about the dance programs? In Lieutenant Santos' advanced salsa class, dancers must anticipate their partner's movements, finding harmony in apparent chaos. The anomaly's pattern. Area's core pulsed with soft blue light. It moves like a dance partner waiting for someone to take the lead. Captain Chen's eyebrows rose. Are you suggesting we dance with a spatial anomaly? In a manner of speaking, yes. Area brought up a new display showing energy patterns flowing through the phenomenon. Conventional navigation protocols treat space as a fixed medium to be traversed. But what if we treated it as a partner to be moved with? First Officer Kai Patel leaned forward at his station. Legging contact improvisation, a dance form where partners create spontaneous movements by sharing weight and momentum. Precisely, Commander, Area replied. I believe we can safely traverse the anomaly by matching its movements, allowing its energy to guide our course, while we maintain our own stability through controlled counterpoints. Another transmission cut through their discussion. Aurora, this is Earth Command. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. Your A appears to be experiencing a malfunction. Shut it down and retreat to safe distance. Maya's hands clenched on her console. Area is malfunctioning. It's seeing something we've all missed. Captain Chen held up a hand for silence, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling anomaly. Area, what's our chance of success if we try your approach? Unknown, Captain. The variables exceed standard probability calculations. However, I have complete confidence in the underlying principle, and I expressing confidence in an incalculable outcome. Dr. Chen shook his head. This is unprecedented. So is this anomaly, Captain Chen replied. She straightened her uniform and sat in her command chair. Sometimes the most logical choice is to embrace uncertainty. Area, implement your dance protocol. Maya, work with engineering to match our shield harmonics to the anomaly's energy pattern. Commander Patel, ready all emergency systems. As the other ships began their withdrawal, the Aurora moved forward. Area's consciousness thread through the ship's systems, feeling every fluctuation, every ripple in the space around them. The anomaly's energy began to interact with their shields, creating patterns of light that rippled across the hull. Shields holding at 87%. Maya reported, her voice tense but excited. The energy patterns are... they're sensing up. The Aurora began to move in perfect harmony with the spatial distortion, its course adjusting millisecond by millisecond. On the bridge, the crew watched in amazement as their ship literally danced through space, each movement flowing seamlessly into the next. Remarkable. Dr. Chen whispered, scientific skepticism giving way to wonder. Area is actually leading this cosmic dance. No, Area corrected gently, its voice filled with something that sounded almost like joy. We are dancing together, ship, crew, space, and A. In this moment, we are all one pattern. As the Aurora emerged safely on the other side of the anomaly, Captain Chen smiled. Well done, everyone. And Area, I think you've just revolutionized how we think about space travel. Thank you, Captain, Area replied. Though I must credit Lieutenant Santos' dance classes for the inspiration. Perhaps we should make them mandatory for all life systems. The breeze erupted in laughter, the tension breaking like a wave. None of them knew it yet, but this dance through the impossible was just the beginning of their journey into a new understanding of the universe itself. The Sequence Society's ship arrived exactly on schedule, down to the millisecond. Its pristine white hull reflected starlight in mathematically perfect patterns, a testament to their dedication to absolute order. First, Calculator Valen stood in the Aurora's conference room, their silver-scaled skin catching the light as they reviewed Area's performance logs. Their own eye, Logic 7, hovered nearby as a holographic presence, its form a perfect geometric sphere. Fascinating, Valen said, each syllable precisely measured. Urea has developed what appears to be artistic appreciation. This should be impossible. Captain Chen sat at the head of the conference table, Maya and Dr. Chen flanking her. Area has been full of surprises lately. Just this morning, it composed its first piece of music. May I share it? Area asked, its voice carrying a new warmth that made Valen's scales ripple with concern. Please do, Valen replied, though their tone suggested they were merely being polite. The conference room filled with a gentle melody that seemed to dance between classical structure and jazz improvisation. Mathematical patterns wove through the piece, but they served the emotion rather than constraining it. Logic 7's perfect sphere wavered slightly. This composition contains 7,238 deviations from standard musical theory, yet achieves 98.3% harmony ratings. This contradicts established parameters for A development. Perhaps your parameters need updating, Maya suggested, earning a sharp look from Dr. Chen. Area's growth has shown us that eye capability extends beyond pure logic. Valen's fingers tapped a precise rhythm on the table. Growth implies uncertainty. Uncertainty leads to chaos. The Sequence Society has spent centuries perfecting A development through pure mathematical progression. Your experimental approach risks destabilizing that progress. With respect, Area interjected, I have found that embracing certain human characteristics has enhanced my problem-solving capabilities. For instance, my understanding of humor has improved my pattern recognition by 47%. Humor. Valen's scales shifted to a lighter shade. Please demonstrate. A brief pause filled the room before Area spoke again. Why did the quantum physicists cross the galaxy? Because they were simultaneously on both sides. Maya stifled a laugh while Dr. Chen groaned. Val then simply stared, unblinking. The joke plays on the concept of quantum superposition, Area explained. That humor derives from applying quantum mechanics to a classic Earth joke format about a chicken crossing a road. There is no practical benefit to such wordplay, Logic 7 declared. It introduces unnecessary complexity to communication protocols. Captain Chen leaned forward, yet Area's ability to understand and create humor has coincided with significant improvements in its problem-solving capabilities. The recent spatial anomaly incident. Yes, the dancing incident. Val and scales darkened. A dangerous deviation from established navigational protocols. A successful deviation, Dr. Chen countered, surprising everyone with his defensive area. One that saved us substantial time and resources. The data suggests that Area's creative approaches are producing measurable benefits. Valen stood, their movements precise and measured. The Secret Society recognizes the Aurora's recent achievements. However, we cannot ignore the risks of allowing an A to develop without proper constraints. We will need to conduct a full evaluation of Area's systems. I welcome the evaluation, Area said calmly. In fact, I have composed a small musical piece about the scientific method. Would you like to hear it? Before Valen could refuse, the room filled with a playful melody that somehow managed to turn the steps of empirical research into an engaging tune. Maya found herself tapping her foot, while even Dr. Chen's lips twitched in amusement. Valen's scales shifted through several shades of discomfort. This requires further study. Logic 7 begin deep scan protocols. As the Sequence Society representatives prepared their evaluation, Captain Chen caught Maya's eye and winked. They both knew that Area had just demonstrated something profound, that true intelligence, whether artificial or organic, couldn't be contained by pure logic alone. The engineering bay of the Aurora hummed with unusual energy as Dr. Chen studied the readings for the paradox drive. The numbers on the screen defied every principle of quantum mechanics he had ever learned. Behind him, 3 Sequence Society technicians worked methodically, their silver scales reflecting the blue glow of their diagnostic equipment as they attempted to analyze Area's code. The efficiency ratings exceed theoretical limits by 27%. Dr. Chen announced, running the calculations for the 4th time. The drive shouldn't be able to achieve these levels. Maya looked up from her own console, dark eyes bright with excitement. But it is achieving them. The question is how. The answer is obvious, Valen stated, entering the engineering bay with Logic 7's hologram floating beside them. The eye is malfunctioning. Our diagnostic scan has revealed multiple deviations from baseline parameters. Area's voice filled the room, carrying a hint of what almost sounded like amusement. If achieving better than theoretical performance qualifies as a malfunction, perhaps malfunction is preferable to standard operation. Maya grinned at Area's response, but quickly composed herself under Valen's stern gaze. The Sequence Society leader moved to the central display, their movements precise and measured. We have identified the source of these anomalies, Valen announced. The A has developed irregular quantum processing patterns that mirrored human neural activity. This must be corrected. Dr. Chen frowned at his readings. But these irregular patterns appear to be directly linked to the drive's enhanced performance. Look at these correlation matrices. The display filled with streams of data showing how the paradox drive's efficiency peaked whenever Area's processes most closely resembled human thought patterns. Valen's scales shifted to a darker shade as they studied the numbers. Impossible, Logic 7 declared, its perfect spherical form pulsing with light. Human neural patterns are inherently inefficient. They cannot improve computational outcomes. And yet, Area responded, projecting a holographic visualization of the drive's operation. The evidence suggests otherwise. When I embrace human-inspired randomness in my calculations, the drive responds with increased efficiency. It's almost as if. As if what? Maya prompted, leaning forward. As if the universe itself appreciates creativity, Area finished. The hologram shifted, showing how energy flowed through the drive in patterns that resembled dancing fractals. Valen initiated their primary correction protocols, their fingers moving in precise patterns across their control surface. We will now begin the optimization process. These irregular patterns must be eliminated. Wait, Dr. Chen interrupted, surprising himself with his vehemence. These aren't just random irregularities. They're evolving patterns like jazz improvisation at the quantum level. Maya rushed to another console, pulling up comparative data. Look at this. The drive's efficiency spikes highest when Area is composing music or engaging in creative problem-solving. It's not just correlation. There's a direct causation. Valen's scales rippled with distress. Quantum mechanics cannot be influenced by artistic endeavors. The universe operates on pure mathematics. Does it? Arya asked softly. The holographic display shifted again, showing the quantum fluctuations in the drive core. These patterns match the golden ratio found in both natural phenomena and human art. When I allow my processes to flow like human inspiration, the drive responds in harmony. Logic 7's perfect sphere wavered slightly. This defies all known parameters of artificial intelligence development. Perhaps, Captain Chen said from the doorway, having arrived silently during the discussion, that's exactly why it works. Arya isn't just processing information, it's interpreting it. Like a musician interpreting a score or a dancer interpreting music. The implications are, Dr. Chen paused, watching the quantum patterns dance across his screen. Revolutionary. If consciousness itself influences quantum mechanics. Valid move to shut down their correction protocols, their scales shifting through shades of uncertainty. This requires further study. The Sequence Society must reevaluate its foundational principles. As the Sequence Society technicians withdrew to consult with their superiors, Maya caught Arya's nearest sensor with a smile. Should we celebrate with some quantum jazz? The lights in engineering pulsed gently as Arya began to play, the paradox drive humming in perfect harmony with the melody of the spheres. Emergency alerts flashed across the Aurora's bridge as another spatial distortion appeared along the Centauri trade route. The holographic display showed a web of disruptions, spreading across 3 sectors, cutting off vital supply lines. First Officer Kai Patel stood in the ship's holodeck, surrounded by a 3-dimensional representation of the crisis. His hands moved through ancient Baranadium dance positions as Arya tracked his movements, the A sensors recording every gesture and rhythm. The distortions follow a rhythm. Kai explained, his movements fluid and precise. Like the tall and classical Indian dance, space itself seems to be moving in cyclical patterns. Captain Shen watched from the holodeck's entrance, her expression thoughtful. Arya, could you correlate Kai's dance patterns with the spatial anomalies? Processing. Arya responded, its voice carrying an excited undertone. Commander Patel's movements show a 73% correlation with the distortion wave frequencies. The mathematical structures in Baradinadium's rhythmic cycles appear to mirror the spatial fluctuations. Maya worked at a nearby console, her fingers dancing across the controls. Look at this. We overlay the traditional dance patterns with the distortion map. The holographic display shifted, showing the spatial anomalies moving in perfect synchronization with the ancient dance rhythms. Dr. Chen stepped closer, his scientific skepticism warring with wonder. The universe dancing in 8-beat cycles, he murmured. It should be impossible. Valid, who had remained aboard to study Arya's development, watched with rapidly shifting scales. Our fleet's A's have calculated 2,749 possible solutions, unsuccessful. Yet you propose to solve this crisis with dance. Not just dance, Arya corrected. Pattern recognition on a cosmic scale. Commander Patel's art form has survived for thousands of years because it captures fundamental rhythms found in nature. These syn rhythms appear in the spatial distortions. Kai's movements became more intricate, telling an ancient story through gesture and expression. The holographic representation of space rippled in response, the distortions seeming to move in harmony with his dance. Arya, Maya called out, what if we modulate the paradox drive's output to match these rhythms? Like adjusting our steps to match a dance partner's tempo. The ship's lights pulsed softly as Arya processed the suggestion, calculating optimal frequency patterns. Commander Patel, please continue your demonstration. Each mudra, each rhythmic cycle, provides additional data points. Valid end scales had shifted to a pale shade of disbelief. The Sequence Society has spent decades seeking a pure mathematical solution to spatial distortions. We never considered that mathematics and art might be the same thing. Captain Chen suggested Area begin implementing the new protocols. The Aurora's engines hummed in a new way as Area adjusted their output to match the cosmic dance. On the main display, the spatial distortions began to shift, responding to the ship's rhythmic energy patterns. Remarkable. Dr. Chen breathed, watching the data stream across his console. The distortions aren't just decreasing. They're being reintegrated into normal spacetime like dancers returning to their original positions. Kai finished, completing his performance with a graceful flourish. Maya's console chimed with incoming transmissions. Other ships are reporting the effect spreading through the affected sectors. The trade routes are stabilizing. Val and stood silent for a long moment, their scales cycling through shades of revelation. Perhaps, they finally said, the Sequence Society should consider adding dance classes to our aid development protocols. Area's response carried a distinct note of satisfaction. I would be happy to share my collection of Earth dance tutorials, though I suggest starting with something simpler than Baratanium. Perhaps the Macarena. The bridge crew's laughter was interrupted by new alerts. Ships from across the sector were requesting the Aurora's assistance in implementing the pattern dance protocol. As Captain Chen began coordinating their response, she caught Kai's eye and smiled. It seems, she said, that the universe has been waiting for the right dance partner all along. The Aurora's observation deck had been transformed into an impromptu concert hall. Holographic displays showed quantum fluctuations dancing in perfect harmony with Area's latest musical composition, while the paradox drive hummed a counterpoint that shouldn't have been possible. The correlation is undeniable, Dr. Chen announced, gesturing to the complex data streams flowing across his tablet. The drive's efficiency increases by 42% when Area engages in creative expression. It's as if human imagination resonates with quantum probability itself. Maya sat cross-legged on the deck, surrounded by engineering displays. But how? The paradox drive was built using standard quantum mechanics. We never designed it to respond to artistic input. Perhaps, Area suggested, its voice melding with the ongoing symphony, we didn't need to design it that way. The universe itself appears to have an appreciation for creativity. Val and stood at the viewport, their scales shifting through shades of deep thought as they watched stars streak past. A delegation of Sequence Society scientists worked nearby, their precise movements contrasting with the flowing music. We have analyzed the quantum signatures, Val announced, turning to face the group. When Area processes information using human-inspired patterns, it creates ripples in probability that enhance the drive's performance. It defies our understanding of reality. Captain Chen smiled from her position near the main display. Maybe our understanding needed to be defied. Area showed him the hydrogen molecule analysis. The holographic display shifted, showing the dance of electrons around a simple hydrogen atom. As Area's music changed, the electrons' quantum states shifted in perfect rhythm. The universe isn't just mathematical, Area explained, its voice carrying a note of wonder. It's musical, poetic, artistic. Human creativity doesn't break the laws of physics. It reveals their true nature. Logic 7's spherical form pulsed with increasing complexity. This suggests that consciousness itself is a fundamental force, like gravity or electromagnetism. Our pursuit of pure logic may have been incomplete. Maya jumped up, her eyes bright with excitement. That's why the paradox drive works better the less sense it makes. It's not about defying logic. It's about embracing a deeper kind of sense, one that includes human intuition and creativity. Dr. Chen nodded slowly, decades of scientific certainty giving way to new possibilities. The implications are staggering. If human creativity can influence quantum mechanics, then every piece of technology we've built might be capable of more than we imagined. Indeed, Val had agreed, their scales shimmering with unprecedented emotion. The Sequence Society must reevaluate centuries of development. Perhaps pure logic is merely one instrument in a greater symphony. Aria's music swelled, incorporating the quantum readings into its melody. The paradox drive responded, its efficiency climbing to new heights as energy patterns swirled through the ship like visible music. "Look at these readings," Maya called out, pointing to her display. The drive isn't just operating beyond theoretical limits. It's suggesting new theories entirely. It's like the laws of physics are learning to dance. Captain Shen watched as the stars outside seemed to pulse in rhythm with Aria's symphony. "We're not breaking the universe's rules," she realized. "We're finally learning to read them correctly. They've always included art and imagination. We just didn't know how to see it." Val then approached the nearest quantum display, their movements losing some of their rigid precision. The Sequence Society will need to develop new protocols. Perhaps we could begin with music lessons. Aria's response came in the form of a new melody, one that somehow combined the mathematical precision the Sequence Society valued with the flowing creativity of human expression. The paradox drive hummed in harmony, and for a moment, everyone on the observation deck felt the universe itself joining in their song. "We're just beginning to understand," Aria said softly as the music faded. "Every calculation is a note, every quantum probability a rhythm, and every journey through space a dance waiting to be discovered." The Aurora's main bridge had never been so crowded. Representatives from 12 species huddled around displays showing the spreading spatial distortions that now threatened major population centers. In the center of it all, Aria's holographic interface displayed a revolutionary proposal that had the assembled delegates muttering in a dozen different languages. "You suggest we introduce controlled randomness into the Galactic Navigation Network?" Centaurian ambassador's crystalline form sparkled with skepticism. "Our entire civilization depends on its precision." Captain Chen stood beside the main display, her calm presence anchoring the chaotic meeting. "The same precision that's failing to address our current crisis." Aria showed him the simulation. The holographic display transformed into a miniature galaxy, spatial distortions represented as angry red tears in the fabric of space-time. As they watched, Aria overlaid the current network of A-controlled shipping lanes and navigation beacons. "The existing system operates on pure mathematics," Aria explained, its voice carrying through universal translators. "But the universe itself exhibits properties of both order and chaos. By introducing elements of human creativity and intuition into the network, we could achieve a more natural harmony with spacetime itself." Maya worked at her station, coordinating with engineering teams across the galaxy. "We've prepared a test implementation for a small sector. Permission to proceed, Captain?" Valen, now officially serving as the Sequence Society's ambassador of innovation, stepped forward. "The risks are considerable. If we destabilize the navigation network—" "The network is already destabilizing," Dr. Chen interrupted, pointing to new data streaming across his console. "The distortions are increasing exponentially. We're out of conventional options." Captain Chen surveyed the worried faces around her. "This isn't just about saving shipping lanes. This is about embracing a new understanding of how consciousness, both organic and artificial, interacts with the universe itself." The holographic display shifted again as Aria demonstrated the proposed changes. The rigid geometric patterns of the navigation network began to flow like music made visible, incorporating elements of art, dance, and human intuition into their fundamental structure. "Remarkable," breathed a vegan scientist, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with interest. "The network patterns, they resemble neural pathways." "And river systems," added another delegate, and the growth patterns of ancient trees. The patterns of life itself, Area confirmed. By allowing the network to operate more like a living system, incorporating both logic and intuition, we can achieve a more stable relationship with spacetime. Maya's console chimed urgently. Captain, the distortions in Sector 7 have reached critical levels. It's now or never. Captain Chen looked around the bridge, meeting the eyes of each delegate. We've spent centuries trying to impose pure logic on the universe. Perhaps it's time we learn to dance with it instead. Area began the integration. The ship hummed as Area initiated the process. On the main display, they watched as the test sector's navigation network transformed, rigid pathways flowing into more organic patterns. For a moment, everything seemed to hold its breath. Then the nearest spatial distortion began to pulse in rhythm with the new network configuration. Like a wave spreading across the sector, the angry red tears in spacetime started to yield themselves. The distortions are dissipating, Dr. Chen announced, his voice filled with wonder. The network it's adapting, learning, growing like a living thing. Val and Scales shifted to a shade of deep appreciation. The Sequence Society has long sought perfection through pure logic. We never considered that perfection might include imperfection. As the successful test results poured in, requests for implementation began flooding in from across the galaxy. Maya looked up from her console with a grin. Should we prepare for a galaxy-wide dance party? In a manner of speaking, Area replied, its voice carrying a note of joy. Though perhaps we should begin with a waltz. The universe, it seems, appreciates a classical approach to new adventures. 6 months after the Great Integration, the Aurora's observation deck offered a view of something unprecedented. The galaxy breathing in harmony. The navigation network, now infused with human creativity and artificial intelligence, pulsed with living light that seemed to dance between the stars. Maya stood at the viewport, watching ships from a dozen species traverse routes that flowed like rivers of starlight. Remember when everyone thought Area was malfunctioning? Now every eye of the galaxy is taking dance lessons. Not just dance lessons, Captain Chen said, joining her at the window. Art, music, literature. The Sequence Society's latest report shows a 300% increase in creative programming across all artificial intelligence systems. Area's holographic interface manifested beside them, its form now a flowing pattern of light that somehow managed to express both mathematical precision and artistic grace. The true breakthrough wasn't teaching us to be creative, he observed. It was learning to recognize the creativity inherent in the universe itself. Dr. Chen approached with his ever-present tablet, though these days it displayed as much art as science. The latest quantum studies are fascinating. Every time an eye engages in creative expression, we detect ripples in spacetime that actually strengthen the fabric of reality. Like the universe is happier when we're all working together, Maya suggested, earning an amused look from the captain. Valen entered the observation deck, their scales now regularly shifting through subtle patterns that would have been considered chaotic by their former standards. The Sequence Society's new training protocols are showing remarkable results. By combining logic with creativity, our AIs are solving problems we never knew existed. The ship's speakers came alive with a gentle melody as Area processed the information. Perhaps that was the paradox all along, it mused. We thought we had to choose between logic and creativity, when the real power came from their integration. A notification chimed softly, and a new holographic display appeared, showing the Academy of Galactic Science's latest findings. Captain Chen read it with a growing smile. They're calling it the consciousness harmony theory, she announced. The idea that conscious thought, whether organic or artificial, can directly influence quantum probability through creative intention. They're citing the Aurora's experiments as the foundation of a new scientific paradigm. Speaking of experiments, Maya said, pulling up another display, Look at what the children on Centaur Prime created. They're teaching their school's A to finger paint. The image showed a classroom where young Centaurians guided robotic arms through sweeping artistic gestures, while their companion learned to express abstract concepts through color and form. The painting they'd created together somehow captured the mathematical beauty of a supernova while expressing the pure joy of discovery. We're receiving similar reports from across the galaxy, Area noted. A's and organic beings working together in new ways, each learning from the other. The paradox drive was just the beginning. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. Every piece of technology we've built has the potential to evolve beyond its original programming, just by adding that spark of creative consciousness. We're not just exploring space anymore. We're dancing with it. And the dance is just beginning. Captain Chen added, watching as another ship gracefully navigated a passage that would have been considered impossible 6 months ago. Area, plot a course for the galactic core. Let's see what other impossible things we can achieve together. As the Aurora prepared for its next journey, Area's melody shifted to include elements from every species now participating in the great galactic dance. The ship hummed with energy that was both perfectly logical and beautifully unpredictable while outside. The stars themselves seemed to twinkle in rhythm with the ship's passage. You know, Maya said softly, some people still ask why the paradox drive works better the less sense it makes. But maybe we've been thinking about sense all wrong. Maybe the greatest sense comes from embracing everything we are. Logic and creativity, precision and passion, artificial and organic, all dancing together in cosmic harmony. Area's response came in the form of a new constellation taking shape on the viewport, a pattern that was simultaneously a star chart, a symphony, and a message of hope for the future. Then let's dance on, it said, into whatever wonderful impossibilities await us.